Uh-oh, Ken, you on mute. You almost said you pulled a Kendrick Marshall.
Am I on mute?
You were at the beginning.
Hello?
I can hear you now though.
Okay. I was almost on mute like Kendrick.
Yeah, man. It was about to start you gotta do it again. Start from zero. Start over.
All right, we good, man. Welcome to a brand new edition, a special edition of HBCU Sports Podcast. It's your boy Ken Rashad. I'm joined with Chris Stevens. We apologize for kind of like just coming out of nowhere. I know we didn't give you guys proper notice. To be quite honest with you, something happened today, and I got into my creative mode, and I'll tell you guys all about it. As a matter of fact, we'll talk a little bit about it. But before you know it, I was in like my creative mode, didn't realize how late it was, and I'm like, I got a show to do, and so we were kind of had to scramble and come up with a show. But we're here, okay, and it is Friday, and we'll have a little fun. I'm not going to be too serious, but we do have some serious topics we're going to talk about. But I hope this will be a very engaging conversation. And we'll just we're not going to necessarily wing it, but, we're not going to necessarily be just structured in anything as well. But before we get too involved in the show, let me just remind you guys, in case you hadn't realized that, I've got a book called HBCU Sports 101, A Guide to Understanding Black College Athletics. Now, look, I'm going to just be honest with you. There was a whole lot of momentum going on before I had to go to the hospital and so forth. I actually had a couple of podcasts scheduled to go in to promote the book. But look, man, I am here to tell you that HBCU Sports 101 is a must-read book. I'm not just telling you that because I wrote it. I'm telling you that because that's what folks have told me. They said they've learned an awful lot. Ken, there are things that I thought I knew and didn't realize I knew it until you told me, and now it all makes sense. So, hey, get a chance, go to kenrashad.com. You can buy an autographed copy. I've got some premium books. I am going to probably, starting next week, I am going to probably kind of have like a little relaunch in which I'm going to give you an opportunity to buy the standard edition book. Not the premium book, but the standard edition book at the regular price, and it will be a signed copy in which I will actually send it to you. All right. So kenrashad.com. I'll have a special link, but look, order the book, and hey, it's wherever books are sold. So if you want to go to Amazon, you can buy a copy on Amazon. You can go to Barnes and Noble. It is out there. All right. So support a brother, support an author. HBCU Sports 101, A Guide to Understanding Black College Athletics. It is must read. Put it in your library. You'll be glad you did. All right. All right. So, okay. Now, let's take a look at this game schedule. And we're going to look at these games here because I don't know, Chris, I don't necessarily view this as a dramatic slate of games. I mean, nothing competes to what we were looking at last week with Jackson State and Alabama State. But is there anything about any of these games that just kind of just rings off the chart as just must-see TV to you?
I wouldn't go as far as say must-see TV, but I still think there's intrigue in just about 3/5 of the games. There's really no point in talking about VUL, Texas Southern, or Valley versus Lincoln, because if you missed that on our YouTube channel earlier this week, our colleague Jared Hoffman thoroughly deconstructed the foolishness of scheduling VUL in Lincoln in California. I highly recommend y'all go check that out. For me, I think that there are 2 games on this slate, potentially 3, where hot seats could eventually be burned to a crisp.
3. 3. You see 3?
There are 2 that jump off the page, and there could be a third.
Okay, give me your 2 that jump off the page.
For one, I do not think Mickey Joseph can survive losing to Arkansas Pine Bluff. I do not.
You don't think Mickey Joseph can survive?
Losing to Arkansas Pine Bluff. I do not.
Okay.
That's 1.
All right.
Number 2, the winner of Florida A&M Alcorn lives to fight another day.
The winner of Florida A&M Alcorn.
Yeah, they'll be safe for at least another week. The loser, I'm not particularly sure. Now, the third, it's pretty obvious that I think that if Prairie View, they got so much going for them in this game, and we'll talk more about Prairie View obviously later on in the show. But they could put a stranglehold on this division Saturday, and if they do that, I don't know what it's going to look like for Terrence Graves down there, man. I mean, those Southern folks are very, very temperamental and impatient. I mean, they just won the division last year, but they got rid of the last guy that won the SWAC West. So, I can't see. I don't hope it doesn't happen, but you never know what with these athletic directors and these administrators think nowadays, especially now that we live in such a microwave college sports society where kids can transfer year in and year out, and coaches are signing 2-year contracts instead of 3 and 4. So, hey, those are the three that jump off the page for me.
Okay, Texas Southern, Virginia Union, anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, the more that I think about it, I'm a little pissed about losing to a school that puts VUL on its schedule. If you really want to know the reason why Grambling lost to Texas Southern last week, for whatever reason, Mickey Joseph thought, I think Mickey Joseph thought he was coaching at Oregon. For some strange reason, Grambling scores the first touchdown. The score is 6-0. And for whatever reason, he decides he wants to go for 2. I said, who are you, Oregon? Who does that? And he failed. Guess how many points Grambling lost by? 1. You lost because you decided to go for 2. And then you lost to a team that plays VUL. You lost to a team whose coach says, we're going to win the West Division. And he just might, depending on how things happen along the rest of the way. But I'm just saying, you lost to Texas Southern homecoming. And I told the folks at Texas Southern this in a very playful way. I respect Texas Southern. But I just told them, I said, there's a reason why the folks at Grambling scheduled Texas Southern and Mississippi Valley for homecoming. Literally, when we were at school, we were like, who's homecoming trick for this year? And it was either Mississippi Valley or Texas Southern. But, okay. Now, to your point about Grambling and UAPB, all I'm going to just simply say is this, folks. All right. Grambling season, for all intents and purposes, is over. Everything else, I think the record is 3-3. This is all cosmetic at this point. There is, I don't know. I don't know if they're mathematically eliminated or whatever the case may be, but I'm just simply here to tell you, I don't think there is absolutely anything that can happen at this point. Because in order for that, if they aren't mathematically eliminated, whatever the situation would be, it would probably be a situation where Grambling would literally have to win out. And when you put in consideration who they have to play the rest of the way, Grambling is not going to win out. And Chris Stevens, to your point about Mickey Joseph, keep in mind, he only had a 2-year contract. He's in year 2 of the second year of his contract. So unless Mickey Joseph can maybe beat the rest of the opponents the rest of the year by 50 points or more, I really don't see a pathway to getting an extension. I don't even know if Grambling folks even have an appetite for you even staying at this point. I'm just keeping it real with you.
That's what I'm saying.
No ill will towards Mickey Joseph. All I'm simply saying is that at some point, man, it ain't working. All right. Not going to talk about Mississippi Valley and Lincoln. That ain't worth talking about. But I understand your point about FAMU and Alcorn State. But I'm here to tell you right now, I could be wrong, but I think for Cozy, I think his situation is an awful lot like Mickey Joseph. He has to just go bonkers the rest of the way in order to keep his job, or should I say, for them to even considering wanting him to stay. Alcorn State, man, I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't even know if you can really even blame this on the coach. I'm just being honest. I just think you guys. I think you guys just simply either you can't. I understand resources are limited. Either you can't or you won't make the investment in football because, say what you will about the situation with Fred McNeil, and I understand whatever that pay difference was. I guess, tens of thousands of dollars. I understand that may be a lot for you all, but I guess there's a part of me that just simply has to say, at this point, was it worth it? Was $10, $20, or $30,000 more really worth what you're dealing with right now? And then as it relates to PV and Southern, the Jags aren't necessarily in a situation. I think Graves isn't going anywhere this year. He's not going anywhere. I think PV pretty much is in a pretty good spot. I don't see them losing this game either. Even I know what is it. I think it's homecoming to Southern, right?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Southern's homecoming this week. And so I think there is a certain level of intrigue simply because of the fact of they're playing at Southern. Southern's homecoming, and PV obviously is the team to beat in the West right now. And there is a certain level of intrigue simply because of that, but that's about it. So pretty much an anticlimactic SWAC schedule, but it's something that somebody's saying that homecoming, Southern's homecoming is this week. Okay. So I think that in and of itself could present, and that's a 4:00 start on HBCU Go. I might stick around for that. I might give that a look just to kind of see how it starts off. Because I will say this about PV. Tremaine Jackson, obviously, up to this point, and Chris, you and I, we interviewed him. You on were you? Was that me? Was that me?
No, that was you and Kendrick. Okay. I did not have that pleasure.
but I will say this: Coach Jackson was pretty intentional about what he was saying, and I know, and I will simply say probably, and I know for a fact on the outside looking, his comments rubbed some people the wrong way. But up to this point, the man has pretty much done everything he said he would do. And when you put in consideration, this is a PV team that really hasn't played all that well. I mean, as it stands right now, PV is not playing lights out, but they've done enough to get them to this point to where they won the games they had to win. They did enough to win the games that they did win. And look, then right now they sit along the top of the SWAC West, pretty much in control of their own destiny. So at this point for PV, sky's the limit. But they're not what you would just simply call world beaters. And just kind of depending on how things go, this could be one of those, I hate to use trap games, but this could be one of those games to where Southern could be inspired to the point to where they very well could make this a game when it's all said and done because of the fact that it's homecoming and given the fact that PV hasn't necessarily been the world beaters that they may appear to be on, in the standings. But again, they've won the games that they needed to win to put them in the situation that they're currently in. That's all I'm going to say. So that's the SWAC slate of games. Now, as it relates to, you know what? Let's do this because Chris, you got some picks, and if you would, I am kind of interested in kind of getting your take on some of these picks that you talked about in your article, your crystal ball. Mm-hmm. Give us the justification for some of your picks.
Well, the 4 games that I highlighted was Prairie View versus Southern,
right?
Because I think if Prairie View wins this game, they're 4-0 in the division, and Grambling's already got 2 losses in the division. Southern would only have 1, but this. I think Southern did themselves a favor scheduling division games this late in the year because now they can still play catch up. If they beat Prairie View this Saturday, all bets are off. I mean, it's a brand new race. But if Prairie View wins this game, it's a wrap. For Division I, for MEAC, I picked Howard. Howard's the only MEAC team in action this week. They go down to Tennessee State for their homecoming. This is a big game for Howard because if they are able to finish their non-conference slate 4-3, they can be a team that kind of falls under the radar because they fell off so bad last year that, people just thought that Howard was just going to struggle this year. But Larry Scott hit the recruiting trail, got himself a new quarterback, young man by the name of Tyreek Starks, who's playing really well. And I think Howard should be able to beat Tennessee State because Tennessee State lost by 24 points to Eastern Illinois. And Eastern Illinois ain't been any good since Tony Romo left. So you can do with that what you will. But as far...
Wait a minute. You said since Tony Romo left?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
2000 something. I don't know. I mean, I just know Eastern Illinois ain't been no good since then. That's for sure. But yeah, I think this is a Tennessee State team that is rebuilding, and everybody who's getting Tennessee State this year, you better count your blessings because Reggie Barlow is going to have that team ready for 2026. And I feel like this is Howard's best chance to get Tennessee State, and I think they will. The Division II game I chose was Benedict at Edward Waters. Benedict is, even with Chennisberry going, they're 6-0 right now and 5-0 in SIAC. Edward Waters, ooh, that's a good number, Lawrence. I like that. And Benedict, and Edward Waters is 4-1 in conference. So right now, this is a matchup that could still have bearing on the SIAC championship game, even though it seems like Albany State is already penciled in one spot, but everybody else is trying to figure out who's going to be that second team. So, and the other Division II game I picked just because I couldn't find anything else interesting in the CIAA was Johnson C. Smith at Shaw, because Shaw beat Winston-Salem State last week, and Winston-Salem State people are upset. So I think Johnson C. Smith should watch out for Shaw because Shaw is like riding a new streak under their new head coach, Lamar Manigo. So, they really need to be paying attention here. So those are the 4 games that I highlighted. Everything else is just like, you can pick it. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, like I said, I did pick Grambling to win 23-21 over on Pine Bluff, but there's just something about the way Alonzo Hampton has Pine Bluff looking a lot better than they've looked in recent years that should terrify Grambling.
Yeah, and then on top of that, Grambling's got some quarterback issues. Number 1 quarterback, Toussaint, is injured, even though supposedly, now someone said he actually supposedly was in street clothes before the start of the game and came back and got dressed and played. And this was after the number 2 guy came in and got hurt. And they were down to the number 3 guy who couldn't get it done. So it remains to be seen who the starting quarterback will be for Grambling, but I'm just here to tell you now, man. You're right. If Grambling loses to peanut butter on tomorrow, all bets off.
Nick, you might want to pack them bags.
You can't lose the peanut butter. UA peanut butter. That's what we call them. No disrespect, D-Love 2010. I'm just simply saying.
He says we're not looking good right now. We're still in wait and see mode after that Texas Southern game.
Well,
I was shocked that Texas Southern put hands on Pine Bluff like that.
You know what? It's a shame that we have to use Texas Southern as a barometer to gauge our programs. This is where the SWAC West is right now. No disrespect to Texas Southern, but still, damn.
It's the NFC Norris of HBCU football. Shouts out to Chris Berman.
Texas Southern is the barometer now for how well our teams play in the SWAC West. Really? Anyway. Okay. So those are Chris's picks. We appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. Okay. So here is where this is a conversation now that I want to. So you guys probably know this, since we're going to get on the subject of Tremaine Jackson, because reports came out today that Tremaine Jackson is being named a candidate for a vacant FBS job, which Kendrick obviously put us in suspense talking about which one, but it actually supposedly is for the job at the vacant job at UAPB.
UAB
who recently fired, UAB, excuse me, UAB, who fired Chris's friend. I
can't stand that MF, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
What? Why is he in MF? What? What's
his
name?
There's just something.
What's his name? The quarterback. What's his name?
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something about just certain people that just rub you the wrong way.
What did he do?
And Trent Dilfer just comes off to me as just an absolute jackwagon. So I was so happy that he was fired. And I don't. And in this economy, in this economy.
Thanks in part to Eddie Robinson Jr. and Andrew Body.
Oh yeah, I was hoping Alabama State beat them. But yeah, I and in this economy, I hate for people to lose their jobs. I feel no ways about Trent Dilfer losing his job.
Okay,
at all.
So G Boom, look, he says it's fake news. Now G Boom's look, he don't get no more PV than my man G Boom. Okay, he says it's fake news, and it might be fake news. It might be. Okay, but I want to get on the subject because I'm saying he's already in demand. Now, Lionel, man, I am feeling so much better. You wouldn't believe. My wife calls me by my name now. I'm not something that, believe me. When I tell you I'm feeling good, man, y'all have no idea. Seriously. I went out on a workout this morning for my walk, and I went my traditional walk without any limitations, man. And when I tell you I came back feeling better than I had prior to the surgery, I am not making this up. And my doctor told me, he goes, man, you are going to feel better now than you had prior to you even knowing that you had a problem with your heart. And when I tell you he was accurate, he was accurate. So when I tell you I'm feeling better, thank you so much for asking. I am feeling better. Okay, let's get back to the point. The reason why this is important, an important topic for me with respect to Tremaine Jackson being mentioned as a possible replacement for the UAB job is because, one, it's not every day that you hear, I mean, it's happened, but it's not every day that you hear about a coach at an HBCU being a possible replacement for a vacant position at an FBS show program. But now, and I'm gonna tell you the reason that I was part of the reason why we were late today is because I'm going to be posting an opinion piece on tomorrow that goes into some pretty great detail about this because, and this is nothing against Tremaine Jackson, nothing whatsoever. The man is justified in getting whatever considerations are being made about him possibly being a replacement. I am not trying to take anything away from what he has done as a head coach. Prior to PV, he was the coach at Valdosta State. And I believe prior to that, it was at a Division II program, I believe it's called Colorado Mesa. And for the years that he was head coach at the head coach at those programs, he won games, period. And this is what you do as a head coach. But my overall argument is, and if you recall, Chris, earlier today in the chat, I talked to you, Kendrick, and Jared. I asked you this question. I said, what is the difference between Tremaine Jackson and someone like Shinnis Berry? Just think about what is the difference between Tremaine Jackson and Shinnis Berry? Okay, I don't know what this means. AI bots working. Look, man, what does that mean, G Boone? AI, what? So this ain't real news. So just the AI bots just made something. Look, we confirmed the reporting. Now, if he's saying that that's not true, okay, maybe so. But the fact of the matter is, it's not unjustifiable for this man's name to come up.
Right.
It's not. But what I'm asking you, this goes a little deeper than just this particular topic here. What is the difference between Tremaine Jackson and Shinnis Berry, who is currently the head coach at South Carolina State?
Boom. Jay Anderson
Boom.
with the answer.
Boom.
Our
Boom. Jay Anderson, look, absolutely right.
Our chief South Carolina State Bulldog checking in.
Look, man. Amen. And Jay, I'm glad you picked this out, man, because that is what the crux of my article is on tomorrow. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there's not really a whole lot of difference when you look at the accomplishments of Shinnis Berry and Tremaine Jackson. And because here's what I am here to tell you guys this. I'm here to tell you guys this. The one I think it has become clear. My argument is, it's not that these FBS programs won't hire Black coaches. We know that they will, but they won't hire HBCU coaches directly from HBCUs. there is an argument to be made, and I've got proof to support it. They don't trust HBCU coaches with only HBCU head. Amen. And if you guys think I'm making this up, we're going to go over some examples real quick here. Now, I'm not trying to, and I want to make this perfectly clear, man. I want to make this perfectly clear. I am not taking away anything that Tremaine Jackson has done. But the fact that he has that head coaching experience at a spot like Valdosta State, which is a Division II institution, and a PWI, in Colorado Mesa, wherever that is, and whatever that is, I know it ain't an HBCU, but it's a Division II PWI as a head coach, and he gets through half a damn season with PV at the top of the SWAC division, and he's already considered to be a candidate primarily because he's already checked out those PWI spots. You look at somebody like Shennis Berry. Where was he before he got to South Carolina State? He was at Benedict College. And I'm here to tell you, as long as Benedict has been in the SIAC, Benedict and football championships were not synonymous until he got there. As a matter of fact, I told Chris Stevens, I bet you there were some folks who are HBCU alums and graduates didn't even know there was such a thing as a Benedict College up until he got to Benedict and started winning championships and started making national championship runs, going to the second round. I don't say this to take anything, but Shennis Berry is a career HBCU coach. And I say that with pride. But just because he coached at HBCUs all his life doesn't necessarily mean he deserves to be considered any less than someone like Coach Jackson when he's done just as much, if not more. And I've made this argument. Wins at HBCUs are not considered the same. I'm just here to tell you this. When in fact, the matter is, you would think that a coach who wins at an HBCU would probably be of more value than a coach at a regular, because of what they have to do. They are required to do more with less. So can you imagine a coach who wins with less? Can you only imagine what he can do if he's got more, or if the playing field is level?
Hello.
But I guarantee you, Shennis Berry, that I'm aware of, I could be wrong, I don't hear anybody talking about Shennis Berry being named as a possible head coach at an FBS program. I'll give you another example. Take a look at T.C. Taylor in the 2 years that he's been at Jackson State. Deion Sanders leaves to go to Colorado, and we all know that's an exception. We're not going to even look at that argument. Okay, Deion Sanders wasn't going to be at Jackson State long. He had been wanting to get to a Division I program. We're just going to throw that out the window.
And Eddie George, And Eddie George too. Let's throw those twos out.
We're gonna throw that out the window, right? Because look, Eddie George wasn't even looking for the possibility. Wasn't even looking to be a head coach.
Nope.
Had no desire to be a head coach. And the president at Tennessee State said, "Hey, you want this job?" Had never been a head coach. It was a celebrity. Eddie George thought when he got a call from him, he thought they were calling him for some money. That's what he said. He thought they were calling him for some money, only to find that they were actually calling him to be the head coach. Had no demand, had no desire to be a head coach. And his wife came up to him and said, "I'm so into you." He was like, "Well, hell, if you into me, I guess they into me too." I'm making that up. And so he goes to Tennessee State. Hey, takes them to the playoffs. And I think it's safe to say, given what Tennessee State is going, Eddie George did more with less at Tennessee State.
Oh, yes. They don't even have a stadium.
Of all of the places Eddie George could have gone, he goes to Bowling Green. And I think he's an Ohio kid, right?
No, actually, he was born and raised in Philadelphia. He just went to Ohio State. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. That's right. Okay, fair enough. Okay. But he's familiar with that background. And so, I'm just saying. But look what he's doing at Bowling Green. So we're going to throw them out the window. But if you look at somebody like T.C. Taylor, man, who has done nothing but just win. I mean, look, if last week was an indicator of just how good of a coach he is, you look at what he did last year. Oh, by the way, and who did he play against last year in the Celebration Bowl?
South Carolina State.
Led by who?
Chennisberry.
In his first year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody, I don't know. Is the phone ringing off the hook for TC Taylor? Is it? We can talk about Trey Oliver. Is anyone going to really sit up here and say that Trey Oliver can't coach? We see what Trey Oliver has done with North Carolina Central since he's been there. We see what Trey Oliver is doing now with North Carolina Central now that he is there. And I could be wrong, but is anybody ringing, Trey Oliver, Chennisberry, TC Taylor? All career HBCU coaches. I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't know if there were any stops at any PWIs. If so, it wasn't long. But I don't hear anybody knocking on their door, man, despite what they've been able to do as head coaches. Win championships, make playoff appearances, win Celebration Bowl championships. And you mean to tell me they can't even get a call? They can't even get a set of, they can't even get people to consider them on a short list? Someone made the point that Tremaine Jackson had to, coach at a PWI. And it's unfortunate that we have coaches who had to pivot. Ready for the first example, Chris Stevens?
Sure.
Jerry Mack. Remember that name? Remember Jerry Mack, who was at North Carolina Central? Took him to the 2016 Celebration Bowl, where they lost to the damn Gremlin Tigers 10-9. I remember the score very well.
Well, we all know why.
Took that helmet off. I remember it well.
And that was only the first time the MEAC lost the Celebration Bowl. We've only lost 2 of those, by the way.
Yes. Jerry Mack had a winning program in North Carolina Central. So what happens? Jerry Mack leaves North Carolina Central as its head coach, and he goes to Rice. Yeah, that Rice. The so-called Ivy League of the South. Rice.
That's the first I've heard of this.
Well, I'm just saying. They've got academic standards that they don't necessarily differentiate from. I'm just simply saying. And he goes to Rice as an assistant. Now, granted, I'm sure it was paying more money. I'm not ignoring the business element here of this. He's got money. He's getting paid more money. He goes from Rice and he becomes the running back coach at Tennessee. Where is he now, Chris Stevens?
Kennesaw State, correct?
He's the head football coach right now at Kennesaw State, currently on a 4-game winning streak. Already proving what we already know he could do. He lost his first 2 games. One of those losses, by the way, was to Indiana. But he's in a 4-game winning streak right now.
And Indiana just gave their coach the bag.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we want
$93 million.
Like $11 million a year, something outrageous. Okay, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jerry Mack for making it happen. Anyway, we got another example. Willie Simmons.
Shotgun.
Willie Simmons, head coach at PV, was winning games. Leaves PV, goes to FAMU, wins games. Doesn't only win games, he wins a SWAC championship. Not only wins the SWAC championship, he wins a Celebration Bowl. And while people have said, well, Ken, yeah, they were talking about him as a possible coach at the FBS. What nobody picked up the phone to call him. So what does he do? He leaves as the head coach at FAMU to become an assistant. I think he was a running backs coach at Duke. and he had to go to Duke to become validated before he became the head coach at FIU, which, by the way, I think FIU and Kennesaw State in the same conference. I think they play later on sometime this year.
Tied for first place in Conference USA at the moment.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, look, I welcome anybody to push back on me to me on this, because I want to be fair about this. And I'll admit, I see things from an HBCU lens, but I try to be fair about this. At some point, it's okay to just, because I make this point in my piece. You hear about these mid-level FBS programs that talk about we want somebody with experience on the level, or we want somebody who's ready, but yet when it's time to make that choice, you don't do it. It sounds good, but you never do it. We see FBS programs hiring Division II coaches all the damn time. Division II coaches. We see FBS programs hiring FBS head coaches all the time. But when they do it at an HBCU, they're either a celebrity or they're somebody who's white. Shout out to Jay Hobson.
Ooh. Pew, pew.
Who left Alcorn State, I believe that was in 2016, to become the head coach at Southern Miss. And he bombed. But I'm just simply saying. So when a coach leaves when a coach leaves as an HBCU football coach, head coach, to go to an FBS program, history has shown us they either have to be celebrity-like or they have to be white. History has shown us this. I'm not just making this up. Why? Why does it have to be that way? Why does a head coach at an FCS program, why does a head coach have to backtrack and take an assistant role at a PWI to become validated before his ass can finally get a head coaching job at an FBS program? Why is that necessary? And I challenge anybody to tell me that it isn't. Again, I understand the paychecks are larger, and I'm all for making that money. But why can't a coach just make more money leaving as a head coach of an FCS program to become the head coach at an FBS program?
It's so crazy because when I mentioned in the chat earlier, when basketball is, my game, obviously. And it just boggled the mind to me that Lavelle Moten never.
Oh, great. Oh, I see where you're going with this already.
Never got a fair chance at a PWI job. Because, look at the guy. For one, he's won at North Carolina.
Hold up. Is this Jay Hobson is the AD at Starkville? He's a coach. I'm not. Hold on, man. I'm not laughing. Okay. Look, I'm just. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Went from top 10 and not mention it all. Okay. All right. Yeah. But yeah, Coach Moten, when you think about it, he's won at North Carolina Central. He's the dean of MEAC coaches. He's the one that's been there the longest. And you can't say that he's not a personable person and he doesn't have aura. That's what the kids say nowadays. This person has aura or whatever. But for crying out loud, the dude is best friends with New Edition. If you want somebody who's in the mix, if you want somebody who's popular, Lavelle Moten, he's a clean cut guy. He's an intelligent dude. He's a family man. He's won. Doggone it. Why don't you just pick up the phone and call Lavelle Moten if your basketball program sucks and you need a guy that's going to lift it up?
Yeah.
But there's also the point that Israel Carey is making, Dr. Carey, and I want to give him, a chance to agree. Some coaches don't want
or need PWI validation.
And I will cop to that. Honestly, to be quite honest, I would prefer that. I would prefer that HBCU coaches are proud to be HBCU coaches. Now, I'm gonna tell you from personal experience. I can tell you now, if Delaware State if it's an act of God, and I'm as agnostic as the day is long, but if this is an act of God that Delaware State wins the Celebration Bowl this year, I'm pretty sure that Deshaun Jackson is going to get a look from somebody. Because
you think so?
Yeah, because he's Deshaun Jackson. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean,
Okay.
and if you take a Delaware State
Chris,
team,
let me push back on you just a little bit about Deshaun Jackson. Because you remember, I asked you about this. Remember one of the issues that I had about Deshaun Jackson with respect to what Division I programs supposedly want out of their football coaches, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Degree.
Right.
So you're saying that, let's just say if everything plays out, and just say Delaware State goes on to have a stellar season, you're saying Deshaun Jackson is going to get looks from other programs?
I absolutely think he does.
Really?
I do. Because, I mean, when you look at the history of Delaware State football, recent history, it ain't been good. Again, this is the best program. This is the best the team has looked since they were contending for the MEAC in the early middle part of the 2000s. And his name is just going to, because, I mean, it's Deshaun Jackson. I mean, this is a dude who was the first modern player to make the Pro Bowl at two different positions. He also is a guy who he was on that Rams team that won the Super Bowl with Ndamukong Suh and not Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald and his tearful post-game press conference. And Deshaun Jackson was on that team. He didn't play much because he was hurt, but he was still an important part of that Rams team that won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he knows a thing or two about this game, and I've been in press conferences with him all year long. I've covered games in person. I've been on the MEAC remote calls, and he's a dude who understands how to deal with the media. He understands how to answer questions. He understands how to deal with an alumni base, even one as, demanding as Delaware State's. Because even though we've been terrible, we have some vocal alumni that says we should be better. And right now, we're better. So, I don't think he leaves if they just have a winning season. I mean, it'll be cool. People probably want to see more. But if by some strange bolt of lightning they win the MEAC and go on and somehow upset Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl, he's as good as gone. I'm afraid that's probably going to be the case. I could be wrong.
You really think so?
I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong. I'm enjoying the Coach Jack era. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is the best I felt about Del State football since I was a student. So, it's like, okay, we got somebody who can coach, who wants to be here, because I've never seen anything in dealing with him that's like, this is a stepping stone for him. This is something that he wants to put his heart and soul in, because he wants Delaware State to be successful. And if he's the guy to do it, he's going to be the guy to do it. But after that, once the success comes, I don't know how long he's going to stay, man. I don't. But I want him to stay. Trust me. Believe me. But
has he enjoyed his time so far? Do you think he's gotten a feel for the culture at Del State up to this point?
He was at the homecoming concert.
He was at the concert.
He was at the homecoming concert.
Is this before or after the game?
Before, because the homecoming concert this year was on a Thursday.
Okay. And he was at the concert. Who was there?
Mariah the Scientist, G Herbo, and I forget the other young lady that was there.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, Lionel, I was 2 years old when Joe Przicki left Delaware State for James Madison, so I don't remember it, but I know the history of it. So
what about it?
Oh, so Joe Przicki was the first white head football coach in the history of Delaware State University. He came on after they got their, doors kicked in by Portland State 105-0.
Okay.
And then by 1984, they finished second in the MEAC. And he got hired by James Madison to be their head coach.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what Lionel's talking about. But yeah. I guess I don't want to necessarily bemoan this point. Chris, you feel free to disagree. Am I off base here with what I've said up to this point with respect to the fact that it appears that any of these so-called vacant FBS positions that are available, if they are going to make them offer, if they're going to make these positions available, or if they're going to even consider a HBCU head coach, that coach has to have some level of PWI experience already in tow? Is that safe to conclude? I can disagree, because you have to go all the way back to the first guy.
What first guy?
who went from an HBCU to an FBS program, and that's the legendary Willie Jeffries.
We talking about Willie Jeffries.
I think he was
But that was Wichita State.
Yeah, back in 1978.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
no, I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is, I'm agreeing with you because
okay.
Willie Jeffries coached at an HBCU.
Right.
He didn't have to, pivot. He didn't have to go be like a running backs coach in South Carolina or something like that. Wichita State said, "We will take you as you are right now," and that was in 1978. So we're talking darn near 50 years since the first HBCU coach went to a power, well, not Wichita State went Power 5, but they were an FBS program back then, Division I, you want to call it. And he was the first black coach overall to do this.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to go back to Willie Jeffries to see a guy that didn't have to, pivot or whatever. So it's hard to say that, your points are wrong or that you're off base. I just think that, people just don't. It sucks that people think of HBCU football as lesser than, or HBCU sports as lesser than, when we play a more entertaining, a more exciting, and a more hearted brand of athletics, because so much is riding on these games because we are rivals.
Right.
When Grambling and Southern meet in the Bayou Classic, that is literally a game where you can say throw out the records.
Right.
Because those two hate each other so much. I mean, Ken Rashad talks about how Baton Rouge stinks all the time.
They smell just like Mississippi River.
And the winner of that game gets bragging rights for a whole year. The Florida Classic. I can tell you right now, the Florida Classic is going to tell you a lot about who's going to be coaching both Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M next year. So these games matter to us. And because these games matter to us, the competition and the intensity picks up. And if you're an FBS athletic director or administrator, you can't say that you want the best coaches for your program and then just turn your nose up at HBCUs because of the B in HBCU.
And I want to make this clear because I saw some of the comments that someone made. I am not trying to imply that when coaches say like Willie Simmons or Jerry Mack, I'm not trying to imply that they are going to these white schools or that they're going to these PWs for validation. I'm not saying that about the coaches. I'm saying that the schools who are considering these coaches, I'm saying that these schools are, if they're gonna consider an HBCU coach, I'm saying that they are looking for the validation of someone who they may possibly consider from an HBCU based upon what their previous coaching experience is for. They are the ones looking for validation. I'm not saying that coaches like Jerry Mack or Willie Simmons are looking for validation. I want to make that very clear. I'm not talking about the coaches that themselves are looking for validation. I'm simply saying that these FBS programs are looking for validation. If they're gonna consider any of these coaches, these head coaching, these HBCU head coaches for any of these vacant positions that may become available. I just want to make that very clear because I'm not trying to insult any of these coaches here. The onus falls upon these athletic directors.
Yeah, I think that's the part that a lot of people seem to forget, that when you, with any job in college athletics, the athletic director, they have to hire the best coaches because their butts are on the line too. I mean, we saw it with, it's unfortunate, but the previous AD at Delaware State had to fall on the sword for Lee Hall because that didn't work out. Even after Rod Milstead was pushed out under extemporaneous circumstances that, I can't really divulge.
Right.
But, I mean, they went and got Lee Hall and figured out, okay, this isn't working either. And they said, okay, we got to reverse course. Now we have to make a splash hire. I mean, a lot of these ADs, they have to make the best decision that is best for their program and also for them to keep their butts in that AD chair.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately for us, we would love to see our guys and gals elevate. I mean, we look at Tamika Doggone it, I forgot that woman's last name was so bad. Shoot me, Jackson State.
Who?
The women's basketball coach.
Tamika Reed?
Tamika Reed. Oh my God. How can I forget that woman's last name? Shoot me. Go ahead and shoot me. But yeah, I'm so happy to see her go to UNC Charlotte, or it's just plain Charlotte now, apparently.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Yeah. Just I was glad to see her move up because she took Jackson State to the places, and different things, took place for her to get that job because she was so, talented and outspoken. But a lot of these other coaches aren't going to get that same pull for some reason, and it sucks.
Yeah, but in basketball, that's not really uncommon. Now, you did talk about Coach Moulton. I get that. But there have been instances like, who was the coach? I can't think of his name. Now, granted, that may not have been the same count. Who was the coach that was at Southern that went to Moorhead?
This is for basketball, right?
Yeah, I can't think of that person. What I'm saying is, and I guess maybe an argument could be made about coaches at the head coaches, but I can't really think of any stellar HBCU basketball coaches that deserve to be mentioned for vacant positions. Like you said, Moulton is one. Now, the coach at Norfolk State,
Robert Jones. Oh, by the way, I've got an interview with Coach Jones coming on this very channel, guys.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
So I'm saying, now a case could be made for Robert Jones.
William Gray said it was Sean Woods.
Sean Woods, that's what it was.
Went from Valley.
Wasn't he? Okay, yeah. Went to Valley to Moorhead State. Okay. But I guess that argument could be made in basketball. I think it's a little different. But football is where the money is, though.
Yeah.
Football is where the money is. And literally is kind of like that, is what is basically the revenue generation for the entire athletic department at most of these mid-major programs. So that's where the difference is. Chris, before we end, this is really unscripted, but I think I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. But there is one little I think there was a conversation. I'm gonna pull this up here in two shot here. Let's make this. You, me, well, actually not even me. It was you, Kendrick, and Jared. You guys had a conversation in the chat earlier this week about these weekly conference calls.
Oh my God. Oh man.
And as professional journalists, I thought you guys brought up some very valid points.
Oh dear.
This is a public service announcement.
Oh God.
Okay. I'm not calling any names here, but I think it's something that needs to be said. This is the public service announcement that we're going to use before we end the show. And I'm making Chris uneasy. I know he's uncomfortable because when I tell you we did not talk about this at all. This is not a part of the pre-show meeting.
We did not.
So I'm going to tread lightly here because I'm not calling any one person, but this is just a piece of advice because I guess to some degree we've all been guilty of it. But in my many years of covering these weekly coaches press conferences, either with the MEAC or the SWAC, I think I speak for Chris Stevens, Kendrick Marshall, and Jared Hoffman. For you, don't take this the wrong. I'm not going to put a title. For those of you who are active during these press conference calls, when you're asking these coaches questions, I'm just going to give you just some veteran advice. It is not necessary to get chatty with the coaches. Just ask the damn question. Just ask the question.
Oh, Lord.
It's okay to put things in proper context. It's okay to maybe throw out some stats to kind of put things in proper to put things in proper context, to ask your question. But it is not necessary to week in and week out to hope and express that all on the highest of 7 hills are doing well.
Oh, for God's sake. Come on, man.
It is not necessary.
Come on, Ken. Oh my God.
To say or provide your affiliation. Well, I'm a such and such graduate and I'm so and so. It is not necessary. Just ask the damn question. Because I can assure you, those coaches do not want to be there. They don't. It shows when they're late. They're either, they're still either happy or they're pissed off. But keep them. They've got the coaches call, and then they have their own weekly press conference that they want to do, and they want to get that all over with. But you don't need to tell us week in and week out, we hope everyone on the highest of 7 hills is doing well, or that everyone in Jaguar Nation is doing well. You don't. Just ask the damn question. Period. Now, if you get offended by it, chances are I'm talking to you. There are some of you who will just simply say, Ken, you're right. I'm just going to ask the question. You don't need to impress us with your knowledge of the game. You don't need to impress us with facts. I like I said, I understand setting up some things. I understand every once in a while you might maybe working on a maybe a column, and you've kind of got that one question that may not necessarily have anything to do with the game in and of itself, but it might be a much broader topic, and you're going to ask those questions to that same question to all of those coaches just to get feedback. I get that. That's done all the time, and sometimes that's necessary. But this is not meant to be a slap to anyone. But just take it for what it's worth. Just ask the questions. We don't need you to get all chatty with the coaches. I understand they may want to have a little back and forth, but just ask the question. Okay? Because I can tell you now, especially as it relates to FAMU, when they lose, everybody on the highest of 7 hills, they ain't doing well. And in the case of the folks at FAMU, and I think I can speak openly, and I say this with respect, they ain't doing too well right now. Now, granted, it is homecoming week, if I understand. But damn it, when you lose, the last thing you want to hear is, I hope you guys on the highest of 7 hills are doing well. Just ask the damn question. All right? Chris, I hope I didn't put you on the spot. I'm the one who's saying it. So
the opinions of Ken Rashad are not those expressed by Chris Stevens. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there right now.
Okay. And I'm just saying, agreed. As a journalist, it's very annoying to hear. Look, and I would just simply say this. Tyler, I'm glad, because I say this as a professional courtesy. And I say this because respectfully, and I mean this, there are a lot of you out there, man, with platforms who I'm telling you, man, you guys are doing yeoman's work. I hear you. I see your shows when I get a chance. I see the work that you are putting into them. Yeah. Doc, I'm not talking about you, okay? I'm not. I see what you're doing. But there are some of you who ain't got no business being on there. I'm gonna stop short of names. And Lord knows I done got on there and I done, look, it's out there. But I'm just simply saying, just ask the question, man. Just ask the question. Because we got these new, don't run, Kristen.
Lawrence, all I'm gonna say is this: Ken ain't on these MEAC calls. I gotta face these guys on Monday.
Well, I'm on the SWAC calls. But what I'm saying is, I'm doing the streams, and so believe me, if you saw what my setup is like, it's kind of hard, and I could ask questions, but it's kind of difficult, kind of doing all of that and trying to ask. Dude, believe me, when I tell you that bad boy is work, it is work.
Yeah.
So I'm just simply saying, But you guys got to understand, and I'm saying this to the newer folks, man, with these media platforms. And this is just because if you notice, there aren't a whole lot of mainstream journalists on these calls. My guess is that they're probably at the local press conferences, just covering the beat reporters and so forth. But all I'm just simply saying, man, it's a professional courtesy. Just ask the question. If you need to frame it and you got to put some proper context in it, whatever the case may be, that's fine. But we don't need to get chatty with the coaches. We don't. So anyway, sorry, Chris Stevens, I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, brother. But that was just my commentary, just to kind of stretch some things out, just to make sure that we make this an hour-long show, okay? Ken, I want players and coaches that other teams want. If not, I don't want them, Ken, and that's what your surgery is done. No patience. Wow. No patience. Is that what it is? No, man, I'm not the only one who's saying this. I told you this conversation started internally, okay? And Chris Stevens and Kendrick Marshall, and look, I'm telling you, we've been to enough press conferences to know what's right and what's wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
We know. So I know you guys probably saying, Ken, look, an old guy once told me when I was younger, he said, the older you get, the more F's you run out of. And maybe that's where I am right now. I'm just simply saying. But damn it. So Monday, ask the damn question. Fam, I hope you guys win. I really do hope you guys win your homecoming. So we hope that everyone on the highest of 7 hills are doing well. Okay. Just
can we get out of here?
My dude, too. He is a sweetheart. I'm just saying. I mean, no disrespect to that brother. I don't. I've met him, man. He's a real nice guy.
Can we get out of here, please?
What'd you say?
Get out of here. Oh boy.
Anyway. Okay. Hey, nobody's making no personal jabs. Come on. Anyway. All right. Chris, let's go ahead and end the show like we normally do.
If anybody sees this and y'all see me on Monday, I'm sorry. This wasn't supposed to lead a chat, but I digress. But ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning into this edition of HBCU Sports Live. We greatly appreciate your viewership, your comments, and all of that. Be sure to leave a like and a comment. If you catch this on the flip, be sure to subscribe. Become a level 1 or a level 2 member for the neat and tidy sum of $4.99 a month. You can get all the Black college sports news that's fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you. If you would like to donate, we have Cash App. Just do the $ HBCU Sports. If you'd like to donate through the Zelle app, you can go to Zelle, type in donate at hbcusports.com, give your coins that way, or you can go directly to the website, hbcusports.com/donate. Drop your coins there. And be sure to follow us on all manners of social media. We are on the Musty app. We are on the that's Twitter, by the way. TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. Just search for HBCU Sports. Chances are you will find us. And once again, we thank you guys for watching and hope you guys enjoyed the football this weekend.
Oh, but Cedric, what's up, Newt? Hey, he said, Ken, you ready for Vegas? Brother, unfortunately, I have not been cleared to travel. And believe me when I tell you, I did ask that doctor, can I travel? Because I'd really like to go to Vegas. This was a couple of weeks ago. He was like, no, sir. No, sir. You're not ready for that. And given the way the season has gone so far, you know what, damn it? It's probably a good thing I don't go to Vegas. Because Jackson State is playing their daddy in Vegas. But damn it, daddy might have an ass whooping coming. Given the way this team has been played. All right, man, that's it. In the words of Chris Stevens, we gone.